I think this story that we're going to cover is really showing how just the national, rather, conversation, and maybe it's not just national, maybe you talk about it really in the West in general, other countries deal with it as well, where people can see that there's a problem going on. They can see that there's something that's an issue that is problematic, if you will. However, they feel pressured to not say anything about it because of the social ramifications and punishment that will be associated with speaking out. I think that is a fundamental problem. It's more than just cancel culture per se. I think it goes both ways. A lot of people who are, of course, participating in this bad behavior, where they do just immediately go to saying something egregious about someone, no matter how truthful it is that they said or what it is that they said, but they said it and maybe it rubbed them the wrong way, or maybe more so it maybe affirms something that they don't like, which is dumb. But on the other side, a lot of chicken shit people out there, to be fair. A lot of chicken shit people out there who have fall basically to this nonsense, and where they feel so pressured to where they can't say anything. When I've made the argument that just fucking say it, especially you guys that are entertainers or in these spaces. Stop messaging me. I can't say what you say, but I agree with you. That's not helping. But there's a story here that you guys have probably already heard of. There's a UPenn, I think, the swimmer who was biologically a male, switched teams, and now is a woman, and has been absolutely destroying these other women who are not biological women, but are born biologically a woman, or they were. Let's say they were, and this person wasn't. But this UPenn person has been destroying records, whooping their asses. And apparently, this person's own teammates has felt the need to do something about this because they see that this is a problem. But out of fear of being called or labeled transphobic, they wouldn't do it. So read some more into this, covered by Blaze, of course, Paul Sock. Lia Thomas, a biologically male swimmer in the University of Pennsylvania, has been obliterating female competitors while competing as a transgendered athlete. The conundrum of Thomas benefiting from biological advantage over female competitors pushed UPenn swimmers to consider boycotting the team's final home meet. However, the Ivy League swimmers ultimately decided against boycotting the swim meet because they are afraid of the repercussions for being perceived as transphobic. Thomas was 22, competed as a male for 3 years at UPenn. See, that part I didn't know about the story. Like, come on, guys. I get that you weird progressive types just like to think that problems aren't problems at all. Like, it's everything's what's the big deal. But come on, bro. That part I didn't know, that the person competed as a male athlete and then switched teams. That part I didn't even know. Switch teams, so at the same school, they go from competing with men to competing with, I didn't even know that. That's news. That makes this worse. And becoming a transgender athlete, undergoing a year of testosterone suppression treatment, and becoming a transgender athlete to compete against women. This year, Thomas has smashed multiple UPenn and Ivy League women's records while competing as a female. During the 1650-yard freestyle race at the Zippy Invitational event in Akron, Ohio, Thomas blew away second-place finisher by 38 seconds. Now, look, I come from the track and field world, so I know that that's a lot of fucking distance. It don't sound like a lot sometimes, but that's fucking, nobody was close. Pretty much everyone individually has spoken to our coaches about not liking this. the swimmer told Outkick. Oh, excuse me. This is let me continue on. This is the part I missed. After Thomas continued to destroy female swimmers, tensions began to surface. An anonymous UPenn swimmer voiced their concerns over the transgender teammate. So this was someone who wanted to remain anonymous, which, again, that's part of the problem. I'm going to speak on some of that in a minute. Outkick, Clay Travis, and them talked to this person who, of course, didn't want their name to be out there. And this is some of the stuff that they stated. Pretty much everyone individually has spoken to our coaches about not liking this. Our coach just really likes winning. Of course, his job's probably not on, I don't know if it's on the line anymore, but he's looking at it like, shit, this person's winning me meets. He's like most coaches. I think secretly everyone knows it's the wrong thing to do. A second anonymous member of the UPenn swim team explained how competing against a biological male is demoralizing and unfair. If they feel so discouraged because no matter how much they work, they put in, they're going to lose. Yes, because there are differences between men and women. I know that, again, because of these progressives, because of this uber like egalitarian bullshit that a lot of people push for, they like to think that we all are individuals and like there's not differences between us. And some of those differences cross biological lines. That is simply the fact, whether you want to accept it or not. This person is at an advantage because of what they were born as. Now, you can sit up here and not like it. Like someone mentioned, they call them transphobic and all that. That's a buzz term that is fucking useless in this context. The fact of the matter is, this person is at a fucking advantage. Well, obviously, she's number one in the country because she's at a clear physical advantage after having gone through male puberty and trained with testosterone for years. The swimmer said of Thomas, of course you're number one in the country when you're beating a bunch of females. That's not something to brag about. However, the swimmers likely won't participate in boycotting in January 8th against Dartmouth in fear of consequences. Knowing they do not have the backing from the school or the NCAA, which, again, you go to a university, so there's that. Again, I was a collegiate athlete, so I'm not speaking from ignorance here. They're reluctant to jeopardize their opportunity to make the elite Ivy League squad. Some of the swimmers have purportedly considered other types of protests, such as a false start. That's chicken shit. Apparently, one of the swimmers added, it's possible the swimmers may end up doing nothing because they're afraid of being perceived as transphobic. If it were me, I'd step up with a sign on my chest stating something like NCAA speak up, we need answers, one parent said. And of course, they refer to, I know you guys remember this as executive order on preventing and combating discrimination on the basis of gender, identity, and sexual orientation. The executive order declared that any school that receives federal funding, there's your fundamental problem right there, must allow biological males who identify as females to compete in girls' sports teams. Schools that don't fall in line face possible administrative action from the education department, which includes loss of federal funding. So as you see, is a perfect storm here. This is what I called it. This is how I said a lot of things kind of operate in that world where the government has people by the balls, for lack of better terms. And they can pimp them into doing whatever the fuck it is that they want because you are getting funded by them, which you shouldn't be in the first fucking place, in any shape, form, or capacity. But yeah, here we are. This is the fundamental reality. Now, the other part of this is you have a bunch of people who know something is wrong, yet they are too chicken shit because of the consequences. And at that point, I guess we can have a heart-to-heart, or rather a more serious conversation. Do you get to bitch? Like, and I'm asking that genuinely. I'm not saying that I'm being not empathetic or anything. I can feel for these athletes. Again, I was a collegiate athlete. I feel for you. But in the same respect, if you too chicken shit to where you got to say shit and as an anon because you afraid of the social ramifications, do you get to it's not that do you get to complain. You can do whatever the hell that you want. But how legitimate are we supposed to take those gripes? Now, this is something that doesn't just apply to them. This applies to a lot of people in everyday world, right? I've dealt with this in the metalcore scene. I've talked about this many times. The amount of people that have reached out to me that we've toured with and all of that before, who say that they know what I'm saying is correct, or rather the band and what we stand for, they agree with it. They just can't say it or won't say it because of fear of being either ostracized or punished socially, because they're taking something that is going to get a target on their back, even if they know that's right. Now, my thing is, I can understand that, and not everybody is built for that, which is where I can empathize with that, because not everybody's me, right? This shit of confrontation, I welcome all of that. A lot of people aren't built for that type of conflict. But in the same respect, you do know that the problem will never be resolved, corrected, if you continue to slap a muzzle on yourself because you fear what may happen to you. And again, we're not talking about like some physical harm here. We're talking about somebody might claim that you're transphobic. Fuck them. The fact of the matter is, you are getting your ass whooped by a person that has a physical advantage because of how they were born, and the fact that there's difference between males and females. It's just not an opinion. That's just a fact. I use this as an example. I have the school record for the 100-meter dash for Texas A&M University Corpus Christi. That record is faster than the women's world record by FloJo, which, again, how she did that, I still don't know. A lot of people assume that she was on the juice. I just think she was a fucking freak of nature. Because ain't nobody gonna touch that shit. That 100 meters, she ran a 10-4. Ain't nobody touching. Ain't no female fucking touching that. Nonetheless, my time is slightly faster than hers. Right? And that's the women's world record. I was just a collegiate, pretty good one, but a collegiate athlete. We ain't talking about Olympic level. Well, you got people who are running like, a full half second, in the nines, damn near a full second. There's differences. And now you have athletes. And this is just, again, we're talking culture at large here. This is the problem. Where people are afraid to say what's correct and afraid to stand up for what is a correct position because of fear of ostracism. So there's two things to consider here. The reaction that people have in the event that you say that, but also the fact that we've bred a bunch of folks who feel like they can't do things or can't say things which are correct because of fear of social ramifications. That's a problem. So it goes both ways. We've raised a bunch of pussies, for lack of better terms, but on the other side, the fact that people act like that to the truth is a fundamental problem. But again, chicken first, egg for whatever, however you want to word that. The bottom line is it doesn't get corrected until the honest conversation is had. And that honest conversation isn't going to be had unless you guys stop being chicken shit. Put your name on the line, man. Stop with this anonymous shit and secrecy DMs and shit. No, if you know something is incorrect, and we see this with COVID stuff, a lot of folks know this jig is up. They won't even say it fucking publicly. They know all of this shit is bullshit. They won't say it publicly. Why? Because they chicken shit. And that's a problem. So I can't not criticize these people who won't speak up out of fear of being transphobic, despite me having being able to empathize with the fact that they feel a certain way from getting their ass kicked by a person who was born a male and competed all these years as a male athlete. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.